You are now watching MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast TV. Chew! Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, one fourth of the Premier Boys Podcast, and your host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And welcome to another new episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast TV, exclusively on YouTube. Hope all is well. And on this episode, we have our special guest. She is a returning guest. She is the host of A Little Bit of Everything with me. We got Angelica back on the show, and we're going to talk to her about the podcast, why she took a long break, being a mother, and many more. This was an amazing conversation, and I can't wait for y'all to watch this episode. And y'all already know what to do. Sit back, relax, and I'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And at this time, I have my special guest. I have a returning guest. She is a podcast host. She has a podcast winning show called A Little Bit of Everything with Me. She is an entrepreneur. She's done many, many things. We're going to dive into it. I'm happy to have her back on MrGentleman Like That Podcast. I got Angelica in the building. Angelica, welcome back. How are you doing?
Hey, Ken, I'm doing good. It's been so long.
Yes, it's been a long time. The last time you've been on the show was season 5.
Oof, that's a long time. How
Yes,
many seasons you at? You're like 10?
we on season 10. We on season 10 now. We on season 10. And yeah. And I don't want to say welcome back. And yes, it's been a long time, but happy to have you back.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And honestly, there's so much to talk about. So let's dive in.
Yeah, we're just gonna dive in. But before we do anything, my audience just keep my audience do not remember you. It haven't I haven't heard your past interviews. Reintroduce yourself, tell them where you're from and everything that you do. Well, not everything, because we're gonna dive into everything, but just give me a short version of everything that you do.
Yeah, for sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Angelica. I'm a multi-award winning, multi-platinum podcaster and creator of A Little Bit of Everything with Me. I'm a small business owner of All Very Good and a health and safety coordinator in the construction industry. I'm a passionate speaker, keynote presenter. I am a single mom by choice and have an amazing little boy who's autistic. And I'm the co-host of the LDAYS Plugged In and an ambassador for the Learning Disabilities of Association of York Simcoe.
All right, there you go. And great introduction. And by the way, this is a little bit of everything. And
You are. Look
I
at
have to
that.
rep
All
it.
very good.
All
He's
very good.
repping it.
I had to rep it, for this episode. So yeah, and also get the all very good edition of the Gentleman Like the Pocket shirts on the Gentleman Like the Pocket merch store right now. By the way, more plug,
Yeah.
more plug. But before we get to like all the good stuff, I want to ask you the icebreaker questions. So the first one I'm gonna ask you is, what is one thing that brings you peace?
Oof. What the one thing that brings me peace. That's, I remember you've asked this a couple times with your guests and it's like, what's the one thing that brings you peace? I think for me, it's more of music. I have such a huge genre of music and I used to DJ and it's just like I could dabble into different genres and there's songs that you could just cry to, there's songs that you can relate to, there's songs that you can just bring happiness to, and just music in general just brings me life and it just starts off my day at a positive note.
Good answer. There you go. What is your favorite go-to food?
Ooh, okay. So there's a couple. There's either sushi, a good burger joint. I love a good cheeseburger with some bacon on it. Or, you know what? Sometimes just a nice cup of coffee. But I love pizza too. So those are my go-to things.
Yeah, all right, there you go. What is one place you want to travel to that you have not traveled to yet?
I really want to go to Europe. I've been manifesting Europe because that's one place I haven't been. I've been to the States, but not all states. But I really want to go to Europe. It's the architecture, it's the food, it's the culture, it's the vibe that you're getting.
No, I feel you on that too. Paris is on my
Oh,
list too. Paris,
yeah.
that's one place I definitely want to go to. So yeah, yeah.
Have you been watching Emily in Paris? That
I
girl just makes me want
I
to go with her wherever
I,
she's going.
I have been watching it, but I haven't finished watching the latest season yet. But I have been watching Emily in Paris. Dope show. So
It is
yeah.
a good show.
And what's in your headphones right now? It could be song, album, or even a podcast. What are you listening to right
What am I listening to? So lately with my job, I lead Stretch and Flex, which is a great program for workers to get into stretching and reducing injuries at the end of the year. So lately I've been listening to the 80s because I'm creating a playlist for my Wednesday morning Stretch and Flex.
now?
Tell me
I know.
lies, tell me sweet little lies. There we go.
And there go. I love 80 right now. I love 80 music too. So you already know. So 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 it's time to let's talk about your podcast because it's been a long time. We talk about the podcast. So tell us about a little bit of everything with me. Like tell us the origin story. What inspired you to start the podcast for those that never heard your show?
Yeah, for sure. So a little bit of everything with me came about on February 14th of 2000 and oh my God, it's been 7 years. We're going into 7 years in February on the 14th. It basically started as a how do I call this? I was going through a lot of health situations. I don't want to say health issues. It's more of a little situation that I had to fix. I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome, which a lot of people know as for PCOS. And it was a time in my life where I was trying to figure out what is PCOS, what is it doing to me. I was an avid runner. I had to pretty much be forced to quit running. I was so into it to a point where, okay, I'm gonna go run Boston Marathon, qualify for it, then go to Miami and just run marathons all over the state and all over the country, and potentially go to Europe for this. And unfortunately, I had to put my part-time running career on hold, and I had to just focus on my body. And I didn't realize how much it was affecting me, and that I didn't know that I had these hormones that were imbalance, and I had to find some help. So I sought a naturopath for help. And basically, she just told me, you got to reduce stress. You're under a lot of stress. You got to eliminate the environmental stress, the people that you live with stress, your work stress, all types of stresses. And throughout that journey, I've learned that everything can be stressful to you. And it's just crazy. And I had to find a hobby. And she's like, I know you love to draw and paint. She's like, why don't you do that? And I'm just like, I'm not into that anymore. I went to school for it and I don't want to do it. So I was like, okay, let me find something else. So I was listening at the time on SiriusXM, Jenny McCarthy show, and I really laughed my head off from 7 a.m. all the way to I think it was 9. It was a 3-hour show. And I was just like, you know what? I really love how she's laid out her show in these 3 hours. And I just really enjoyed it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to dabble into podcasting. And once I started podcasting, I started finding, I didn't look at how to podcast. I just started off with my phone. I signed up with Anchor and I just rolled with it. And I learned along the way, and I tried to find different venues of how to learn and improve and whatnot. And I kind of just said, okay, let me talk about reality TV because at the time I was watching 90 Day Fiance, I was watching the Lindsay Lohan Beach Club, and I just had so much to say about it because there's only so much you could say in Twitter that I felt like I had to put it into a podcast. And then once I started and got everything up and running, used my phone, started interviewing people, and I was just like, you know what, I can expand the podcast to something else. And then 3 years later, I was just like, holy crap, like I was running a 5 day a week show. And I literally talk about a little bit of everything. So it's not just reality. I interview guests, I interview professionals, and it just became this whole thing. It was like a whole production of a one woman show. I had CQP, the host of CQP, which she goes by Coupon Queen Pin, and we collaborated in a lot of reality TV. And then I've met you, and then we've met so many great people through this little group that we have that's still going. I'm not sure if everyone's still there, but we still got it going. It's still active. And it just became a whole production for me. And that brought me happiness. And funny how when I started this journey of podcasting, a couple months later, my body started going back to normal. And I started, seeing the benefits of finding my happiness. So that really helped me. And I just kind of kept going with podcasting because you get addicted. You start interviewing a couple people, you start doing this, you start publishing, and it's like, oh my gosh, I just want to do more. I've reached to over 800 episodes in a span of, I think, was like 4 years, less than that. And my goal is to reach 1,000. And once I reach 1,000, I'll close the season up and then kind of do a new season. But it was so hard to close the season because when you do so much and it feels like a 5-day production, and we did live shows, we did so many collaborations, it's just, you just want to do more. And I'm happy of what I was able to achieve in the last 7 years, but I just want to get back into it. I've been taking a long hiatus of a break. It's been like almost 3 years since my son was born. And it's just like, how do I get back into it? It's one of the hardest struggles because life changes. A lot has changed with my life too, personally. I've updated people little bits and pieces of it, and I'm about to publish an updated episode in the next coming weeks, and I'm just like, how do I fully get back into it? And there's so much that I want to do with the show in conjunction with other things, but I it's just getting back into it is the hardest.
Well, first thing first, happy anniversary. Not only to you, but to
Thank
me
you.
as well. Because we both been doing it for some years. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, happy anniversary to you. I listened to a little bit of everything. I was on a little bit of everything, literally 9 times, 9 different times. Now that's pretty funny.
Yeah, you
Like,
were.
like I think 2 times was an interview, three
Hmm.
times I was a guest host, and the other time was for Sharon Karaoke. So,
Yeah.
I always enjoy your show, and thank you for having me on your show. It was a really
Yeah,
dope
for
episode.
sure.
And also shout out to the co-op. Shout out to the co-op family.
Oh, the co-op group. Yes, like I said, it's there. We
Yeah.
dabble in. There is, what's the other podcaster that's still publishing episodes? Oh my
Mark.
God, Bromar. Yes. I
Yes,
still
yes.
listen to his too and yours too, and I'm just like, yeah. Hey, I love that little community that we built, and I'm very happy about it.
Yeah. But as you just mentioned, the 7 years. So as a podcast, what have you learned in your last 7 years?
Oh my gosh, it's patience. It's being passionate about something. When you're passionate about something, you can definitely have the drive to continue and to do what you love to do. Podcasting is difficult, and I think we've talked about this as a group collectively every time we met up is it's a hard, long journey. It's not something that you can be like the Joe Rogan or you can be like the Christian Cavallari or the Khloe Kardashian because they come with a fan base and they just exploded. We're indie podcasters. We're starting from the bottom. Like Drake says, I started from the bottom, now I'm here. So it's like it's a tough industry
Yeah.
unless you're sponsored by a network or you work for someone that has the capacity and the money for it. You can definitely grow from it. But for us indies, I think we just do it because we love just getting on the mic and we do everything ourselves. And people don't realize that. And a lot of people would ask me, well, who do I speak to on your team? I'm like, I am the team, okay?
Facts.
I'm the
Facts.
one that's finding the guests, booking the interviews. I'm screening my guests too on top of I'm talking to PR. PR's talking to me. I'm talking to them. We are literally planning through our full-time jobs, working around this hobby that we truly are passionate about. So what I've learned is being patient, being passionate about something that's going to drive me and motivate to do more. And I just really enjoy it. And you grow as a person because who would have thought that I can spark on the spot interviews like you and I? Because sometimes
Facts.
we don't have scripts. We're just like, all right, we're just gonna go with the flow. Like that was my strategy. I think Ken, all the 9 times you've been on, it's like, hey, we're just going with the flow. You're like, okay, all right, let's do this.
That's a fact. And even though that time I was shot on 9 times, so the fact that I grew from those 9 times, is crazy.
Exactly. And, that's how I did it. I didn't have time to do scripts and stuff because it was a 5-day production. And I
Yeah.
would come home. I had 4 interviews back to back, depending on time zones and everything. It's just a whole production. And I always tell people, don't rush into it. Take your time, even if it's 1 episode a month that you're doing, if it's 2 episodes. I have another podcast that I co host, and it's more of a corporate level. And
So
that's different.
we're gonna dive into that. We're gonna dive into that.
Yeah.
But first thing first, Angelica, shout out to you because you do a lot, but I've always been admired by the stuff you do, and it pushed me to want to do better as well. And I think I'll be doing them a lot, but when I see you do your work, like, hey, Angelica do a lot. I need to get like that. So I would say, I always admire your hard work and everything that you've done. So shout out to you.
Thank
So,
you.
all right, but one thing that I admire about you is, you are a multi-winner podcast show. You have over 900 episodes. You interview a lot of people. So I want to ask you, what have been your biggest achievement so far?
So my biggest achievement, it's not about the awards. The awards are great to kind of give you that understanding of all my hard work is being paid off, but it's more of what you've grown as a person that I could interview, bring these amazing guests. I've had so many guests from different backgrounds, and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is the money making, is creating this network. It's not about the sponsorships. It's not about that the fact that, you get money from different providers. It's not about the fact that, I've got these awards. It's the fact that I'm building a community for my podcast and building a community around me, which is pretty phenomenal because even till this day, they're like, hey, I'm looking for somebody who's in this industry. And I'm just like, oh, wait, I know somebody. Because I've interviewed over 500 people, and it's from lawyers to entrepreneurs to real life stories to speakers. Like, if I were to host a convention, I have somebody for every single category.
That's a
That's how
fact. That's
much,
a fact.
yeah. And that's how much I've grown and be able to give a platform for these individuals to share their stories. I even know lawyers, who've been on the show. I know relationship coaches, regular coaches, coaches of careers, coaches of just anything at this point. And it's phenomenal to have that network. So I feel like me growing as a person and just realizing like I have a skill.
Yeah,
Podcasting teaches you a lot. And we've talked about it already. Like, we're a one-person show. We
yeah,
learn
yeah,
so much from that. We improve our skill. And to me, I think that's the biggest achievement is being able to just create a network of people that I can just be like, I do know somebody who's in that industry. Hold on, let me pull up their information. Yeah, I know a chef actually in New Jersey who's really good. Like, and then there's you, Ken, who knows like all of Brooklyn, who've been in the industry of the nightlife. So it's like, you know what? I know somebody that can help you out with that.
yeah.
It's
And
all about someone, right?
yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. And also shout out to you for the impact you put into the podcast community. So yeah, and you, like I said,
Thank
you've been
you.
killing it, and continue to do what you gotta do. You know.
Thank you.
So one thing you did mention that you say you took a long break for a long period of time. So my question to you is, what affected that break, and how is the status of the show today?
Oh my God. The reason for the break. So once I had my son back in 2021, and I feel like it's been forever because it's 2026, I went back to mat leave. Luckily, because I'm from Toronto, Canada, we get either 12 months or is it 18 or 12 and 18. And I took just a year off, and basically I during that year I caught up on so many interviews and was like, okay, let me start editing. At least I got some content when I get back to the reality of balancing it all as a mom now. And once I went back, it was so difficult. I didn't realize how much more difficult it was, baby sleeping schedule. Then you're just like, oh, daycare. You're just trying to figure out how to fit podcasting into my day to day life. And it's different now because I got an amazing son. And And as a mom, you feel guilty that you're not doing enough. So I decided to just kind of take of a break, update every so often. I wasn't doing much. I was publishing a little bit of episodes here and there. And then I went through a life choice that I took that I can't really talk about it as much at the moment. I did talk about it in an episode. Basically, I decided to leave my marriage, and that's all I'm leaving it as. And I had to navigate life that way. And then all of a sudden, earlier of 2025, I lost my father. So I felt like life was really challenging me. And I felt like the universe is telling me, how much more could I lay on you? How much more resilient can you be? How much stronger can you become? And that's how I take these life lessons. And I felt like it was just like, I can't just do what I used to do. And trust me, I'm itching. I'm craving to go back to what it was before, create some great content, meet some new people, and be able to continue building this podcast that I started 7 years ago and built it to something better. Because my dream is still to have a talk show be a talk show host and have a show and just, translate the podcast to a show because I think it would be fun. It would be cool. But unfortunately, I had to take this break. And now the show, I don't know. I think I probably did 5 episodes last year. And I think Spotify was telling me, well, you were super quiet this year. And I'm just like, oh, great, thanks. Because I'm so used to Spotify telling me, wow, you created
Yeah,
so much
yeah,
content. You did not sleep. You published over 100 episodes this year. You know what I mean? And now it's like, you've been really quiet. I'm like, oh, yeah, indeed, I was going through life, life lessons and just trying to adapt to a new reality, which I'm not used to. And again, my dream is to host a show. That is the dream. And it's like I have to rebuild that foundation again and get back into the swing of things some way or the other.
yeah. So first thing first, sorry about father. So regarding that, how are you doing regarding that? I want to know
It's really hard. And thank you for that. And I know I received your messages from earlier on too as well. And from everybody who's listening from my podcast and my friends. I appreciate your support and everything. It's hard. Losing a parent is the hardest thing, especially for a girl that grew up with the daddy's little girl. It's just, he was my best friend. He was the guy that I would talk to. I was afraid of my mom for most of my life, and I think I still am because it's the Latin culture. Let's be real. They're very tough. They're just they're very hard to love. My dad was more sensitive and understood what I was going through with everything in day to day. He was the guy that I would love to watch all the wrestling shows. I think that's the hardest thing now that I can't do. I can't watch any live event. I can't watch any of the Monday Night Raws. I can't just watch wrestling again at all because it's just so hard. I went through a baseball season because the Blue Jays were doing really well, and I don't know how I did it because we enjoyed watching baseball together. We would go to games together, so the hardest thing for me is going back to watching wrestling without my father. And it's just a hard adjustment. It's just every day. Like my son, like he is nonverbal, he's autistic. That was his best buddy. And how do you know what your son's going through and when he can't talk to you? So that's a challenge, but it's just every day. I feel like I've been such a robot and I feel like I'm just doing the same thing every single day, adjusting to the reality. He was a huge help. He would take my son to speech therapy during the day, take him to swimming lessons during the day with my mom. He was just helpful. Like my parents are amazing, bless them. And, my dad continued to rest in peace, but it's just losing a parent is the hardest. And I put on this face. I do break down. I'm going to be honest. Like, if it's like right now, if I wasn't recording, I would just break down a little bit, write in a journal how I feel and express my thoughts on paper and just move on with life. But it's so hard to adapt 100%.
yeah, and like I said, sorry for your loss, and I'm continue to keep you and your family in my prayers. You know,
Thank you.
I can't imagine that haven't happened yet, but I know this is scary, one of my scary feelings. So yeah, so you keep it in
You
mind.
don't you can't prepare for it as much as we
Yeah,
were because,
yeah,
the condition that he was at. He had, for those who don't know, he had a valve transplant back in 2011. They told us he only had a lifespan of 15 to 20 years, but it depends on the person's body. And I think the hardest part is seeing your parent on the floor and just like, wow, okay, this is the end. Like, what do you do? And and just seeing it from beginning to end and his body being, wheeled out, it's just a whole other experience. It's like I had to owe it back to him for all the stuff that I did and for all the stuff that he did for me. And it's just crazy. You don't, it doesn't get easier. It just gets, I feel like it just gets harder, but you just move on some way or the other.
take it one day at a time.
Yeah, 100%.
And once again, Angelica, thank you for sharing that. And that was improv. That was improv. So but
Yeah.
so thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
So also, you're also a co-host and editor of the podcast L Days plug in the podcast. So tell us about that podcast and tell us how you got that opportunity.
So, being ambassador for the Learning Disabilities Association for the chapter of York Region, they've been talking about creating a podcast and knowing that I have experience. They decided, okay, let's do a podcast. We'll invite guests on the show, professionals, share our real life experience dealing with the learning disability with other champions. And we decided to try it out. And we did. We released it our first episode at a conference that we had with parents and, the kids that are a part of it. And it was pretty successful and we kept going. We only release one episode, I think, every so often. It's not monthly because it's a lot. And it's doing really well right now. And it's called the LDAYS Plugged In Podcast. Again, we take our real life experiences and we interview other people with different experiences like us and similar to pretty much create awareness and to promote the organization itself. But it's different because when we have our podcast, we kind of just do what we want. We run the show the way we want it. This one has its challenges in a way that I'm not used to the corporate like layout of a podcast. And there's some things that you can't say and some things you can say. So there's a lot of editing involved in the background that I have to do. But you know what? It's a great experience because then now I understand what it feels like to have structure because you know how my show works. It's just lay it all out. We're going to have this person and that person. We don't talk about politics and we don't talk about
Yeah,
religion. So
yeah, yeah,
it's nice to have that structure at a corporate level and you kind of learn and then you grow obviously as a person and then you perfect your craft, but it's going really well and I'm excited. It's a nice project to have and hopefully it's getting me motivated to get back behind the mic a little bit more, obviously episodes a week than just once every, couple months.
yeah. And congrats to you on that. And my question is, if we want to listen to that show, where can we listen to it?
So you can listen to it on iTunes and also, sorry, Apple Podcast and Spotify. It's also on iHeartRadio, I believe now. I'm trying to push it to more platforms. It's just it's taking a little bit longer than what it used to be. So right now you can definitely find it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's called again the LDAYS Plugged In.
There you go. There you go. And so I got one question I've been wondering for a minute. So you had the spin-off show that I was a part of. I was, I guess, 3 times, and I was a co-host one time for Shower and Karaoke. Also hosted by Coupon Queen Pin, the host of CQP Moment. Shout out to her, by the way. She's doing big things as well. So
Oh
my
my
question
God,
is,
amazing things.
so my question to you is like, tell the origin story of that show, and when is that show coming back? Because I know I've been waiting.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we get this question a lot, even CQP, even when I was during my break when I had my son, a lot of people were asking her and I we kept messages of when's the next season coming out. So the way it started was we were trying to figure out a fun way to kind of just, you know, keep the collaboration going because I love working with her. And we've always had this little thing of, do you think this song would be good as a karaoke song or a shower song? And that's how we kind of just like, you know what, this could be a show. So we decided to create shower karaoke, which basically we choose a song of our choice and we decide if it's a shower karaoke and that there's like a collective song, which is your third one, or the special guest will have the collective. And then we decide if it's a shower karaoke song. And we wanted to hear from our audience. We would do like a Instagram poll live and on Facebook. We did 4 seasons of it. We do have the playlist live on Spotify and also on Apple iTunes. And you get to hear all the songs that we picked. We do sing it. CQP, that woman's got voice of an angel. She can sing any song. Meanwhile, me, I'm just trying to like get by with it and not even practice. And it's live, it's raw. Like it's crazy because there was times that we'll just sing it as we're recording, or if I didn't like it, I would record it like 7 times and I'm just like, I can't submit this to you because it's garbage. So it was pretty fun. I loved it. I really enjoy it. Is it coming back? You know, I haven't spoken to CQP. I think I've spoken to her in 2025. I know this is the new year. We spoke at the beginning of the year, but it's been a long time. I think I've spoken to her like 5 times. She's doing crazy, amazing things for her community. And I'm just trying to get through life at this point. I know it sounds bad, but I want it to come back maybe like twice a year and then hopefully get a schedule going. But that's how it came about is just deciding something fun to do as a collaboration and pick a couple songs, sing it live on air. And yeah, it was fun. I really enjoyed it. And thank you for
I don't know.
coming on as a guest host because I think you took over for me one time.
I did when you was pregnant. You was pregnant
Yeah,
as a
there
host.
we go.
I was one of the hosts. I was one of the guest hosts. But no, but I ain't gonna lie, that was a fun show, and I got to shout out to y'all because I was shy when I do this. I never used to sing until like the only 2 episodes I sing. And I'm not gonna lie, after that show, I started singing karaoke a lot more after that.
Oh
Like no
my
lie.
God.
Yeah, for real.
I'm
Yeah, for real. I know.
happy.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. So yeah, shout out
I
to
love
y'all
to
for
sing.
that.
I love to sing, but when it came to the show, well, I'm not saying like I love to sing professionally. I'm not a professional. I love karaoke singing. And when it came to the show, I was like, girl, what are we doing? Like, you got a great voice, but I can't. And then there were songs that I picked that were so difficult. And I'm like, I can't do the song justice. Like, I'm insulting the artist at this point. So it was so hard to kind of just break your nerves out, be comfortable, and just sing it. Like, there is pressure, and you're not the only person. Every single guest that we've had on the show felt that way. And you know what? We've had singers, legit singers. There was a really good guest host that we had that was from CQP from her podcast, a beautiful singer. And he actually has, oh my God, I feel like I need to bring this back, but he had the voice of Phil Collins. Everybody knows Phil Collins. And
I forgot I heard that
I
episode
I
before. I
forgot
think I
his
heard.
name, something Edra. He had the name Edra in there. And we were just like, you need to sing the Phil Collins because you have like similar voice as him. Yeah, we'll do your single, like we'll do that, but I need you to sing Phil Collins. Oh my gosh, Ken, he was like, I was so nervous. Like I felt the pressure. I'm like, no, there's no pressure. We were just like in awe that he did it. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
I feel like I need to bring up the clip so you could clip it on here. But I was just like, oh my gosh, we got like the best show ever. And everybody loved it. Like for him to re-sing, what was it? Oh my gosh, that famous hit of Phil Collins where he like plays every single instrument in the concert and he's like singing the drums.
In the air.
Yeah, feel it in the air. That's the one he did. And we're just like, both of us were like in shock. We're like, oh my God, this is like content gold right here. But even singers that we've had, they get nervous. So it's normal.
It was great. I actually remember that episode. I remember that episode when he came on and he sang it. I remember that episode. That's a crazy. That was
Yeah. But didn't his, like,
he was really good. Yeah, he was really
yeah,
good.
he was really good. And again, he was so similar. And then when we had him on my show after for just an interview about his music, I was just like, man, your voice sounds like Phil Collins. Like, you got to do it for shower karaoke. And he's like, I'm down. I'm doing it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is happening. I should republish that episode because it was really good.
Yeah, and y'all do decide to bring it back. I need to be on that course.
Oh, for sure. For sure. We know who we're calling.
There you go. There you go. But one thing that, on the last time you've been on my show, the last interview I should say you've been on my show, we didn't talk about this on the air. We talked about it off the air. And I found out that during that time you were pregnant during that time. And we never talked about it on the show and you being a mother. So how is it being a mother? What have been the challenges of being a mother? How is it raising an autistic kid?
It's been a long time. I know I was pregnant when I was on the show. So motherhood has been amazing. It's got some ups and downs, of course. Let's be honest. It's difficult. We can even ask our own parents that, and they're like, yeah, it's challenging at times, but I really enjoy it. I didn't expect that to be a mom. I think that was one of the things growing up in high school. I always said, you know what? I'm never going to get married. I'm not going to have children. I just want to live careless. Like, and I hate to say this, and I can't believe I said it. I said I would love to be like the Gene Simmons. I don't know why I would say that, but I'm saying it. I don't know what it was. I was in high school. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be like Gene Simmons. Just, live life, YOLO. But life changes, people change you, and I got married and it was it was like I was given a son. God was like, you need a son. And I never felt so much love from a little human, especially from a little boy. I was a daddy's little girl, and seeing him with me and have that, I'm saying right now because he's so small, he's like a mama's little boy, and we're exact twins. I posted stuff on my Instagram and you can see the resemblance, and I love that I had photos
Yeah.
as you've seen them, right? As he grows, and I'm like, oh my God, this kid is me. The way he looks at certain things, the way he smiles, the way he just like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm seeing myself in him. And when we found out that he has level 2 autism, nonverbal, don't ask me what level 1 is, 2, and 3. I feel like it's just not clear. It can mean different things. I knew there was something up because as a child with a learning disability and ADHD and everything else that I've gone through, I knew there was something like I need to find out what it is. And I know as moms, we go through this denial phase of like, no, I don't think so. He's going to be okay. And you just don't want to accept it. I was just like, I need to figure out what it is so I can set my son up for success and do whatever we need to do. It's a hard reality. I'm not going to sugarcoat it because we all go through challenges as parents, no matter if it's one child, two or three, or a child with special needs or with medical conditions. I feel like we have to create the awareness and reduce that stigma because honestly, this is the reality. This is what we go through, and I have no problem sharing it because there's other moms out there going through the same thing, and I want them to know that it's okay to go through it. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's okay that we have to go through these challenges just to make sure our kids are set up for success. And, as much as I go through a hard time sometimes and trying to understand, and the hard time is not like telling him not to do stuff. It's more of the fact of what else could I do more? I'm already doing a lot for him, and it's like, what else could I do more? Can I do this? Should I put him in that? Should I decide to do this therapy? And I know I do get some complementary therapy every so often, but it's not enough hours. So some of this stuff comes out of pocket. I have to use my insurance benefits, or sometimes I'm like, okay, do I stop this and do I do that? What else could I do? What else could I do? And as a mom, you're kind of just like, okay, when is it enough? Because you're always worrying about your child. As much as the school system, we do numerous of meetings, they do their internal therapies and stuff with him, and he's got an EA for support. But to me, in the back of my mind is, what else could I do? When do I actually say I'm doing enough and it's okay, which is the hardest thing? Because I went through this as a child. I'm not saying, hey, I could be on the spectrum and I don't know it. Let's be honest, right? But as a child with a learning disability in the 90s, there wasn't enough resources, right? And seeing my parents struggle, and the fact that we went through a horrific, time of our lives, because my dad was a construction worker. He fell 3 stories, and that's a whole other story. And he couldn't work. My needs were put on hold because now we're fighting with lawyers, going through workers' compensation for my dad to get compensated, suing the subcontractor, all that crazy stuff. And my needs were put on hold. The one thing we were focused on is putting food on the table, clothes on my back, and have a roof over my head. And my needs as a child with learning disability, there was no resources. There was nothing at the time, at the 90s, that established what is a child that has a learning disability, what else do they need? So now that I have a child who is autistic, it's like I kind of know what I need to work on, but when is it enough? And that's my problem. And I can't overwhelm them with things because it's too much for them. But when do I stop and just breathe for a little bit and say, it's enough? It's okay. And that's the hardest. And I feel like a lot of moms out there, like I said, it's just, when do we stop? When do we say it's okay? It's okay to put your son in speech therapy once a week, not every day. It's also financially, it's hard. I'm looking at almost $600 a month on speech therapy privately. I'm looking at ABA, which is a month, you're looking almost at 1,000. I need at least 2 more jobs to support all of these therapies because it's a lot. But when do I fit in that schedule? So that's what's most challenging. But what I love is that this little boy is a splitting image of me, and we share the same facial expressions. We smile the same. And he's just such a problem solver that I'm like, wow, how did you figure that out? Good for you for using that brain. So there's little things that I'm so in awe about, but overall, he's doing well. And I've learned to kind of just take a step back and just let me take a break and just analyze and say, okay, we're still going to do this program. We're going to stop this for now, and then we're going to continue on. And it's a huge financial burden, because you're kind of like, wow, I'm giving everything to my kid at this point, which I am. And it's just like, I want to do more, but how much more can you give? Because you can't. I got to I supported my parents because they're both retired and they help me a lot with my kid. I pay for majority of the bills of this household. Also, I'm paying for literally 3/4 of the mortgage. And then I'm paying for everything else for my kid. And whatever's left is literally for me. And I'm happy as long as my bills are paid, my mom's being taken care of, and my son's being taken care of. I'm happy. So it comes with its challenges. Yes, I'm a single mom by choice, but you know what? I'm happy, and that's what matters, is by happiness, that he sees me, that I'm happy, and I want to show him that, you know what? Despite that your mom having a learning disability, that's something that's not curable, but I did a lot. I'm a podcaster. I was an entrepreneur. I went back to school for fitness and nutrition, ran my own business. I became a speaker. I'm a keynote presenter. I am I am an architectural technologist on paper. I'm in the construction industry. I did retail management. Like I did so much that I want this child to realize that anything is possible and I will help you get you there with the support because that was the support I was given as a child and as a teenager. I was able to do whatever I wanted as long as I was able to accomplish it and not give up. And I want to show him that you can do anything. Even though the world may not understand you and you might not understand what the world is, but you know what? You can do anything you want.
Definitely thank you for sharing that. And you are doing a good job. I know you are doing a good job, and you are doing it. So keep doing what you're doing, Angelica. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
sharing. And this this thing that you mentioned is going right into our next topic. Because one thing that I did as a kid, I did that was speech therapy. You know, I'm going to have speech problems. So, so I, so I understand. And I deal with a lot of mental health. So my question is, and you dive into a little bit of it, but why is mental health important to talk about?
It's important because we deal with it on a day to day. Like I've seen my dad struggle with mental health too from his construction accident falling 3 stories. And, you come from a culture of you probably gone through it too, where it's like you're the man of the household, you support your family, you're the breadwinner, right? And a lot of men go through that. So when that's taken away from you and you're relying on your wife to be the breadwinner and your kids to help you out, like, that's a mental health impact that's going to affect you all your life. And it sucked for him. And I've seen him struggle and I've seen him go through the emotions. And for myself, as a child with a learning disability, as I was getting older, you're trying to figure out what is going on with me. Is there a
Yeah,
cure for
yeah,
this? Is there a magic pill? Is there a surgery? No, there's no such thing. It's just built in you in your DNA. Where is it coming from? But you start to overanalyze things. Like, I know, stupid. I was like, and I say this because I was like, wow, my mom, she was a scholar, but then my dad was just street smarts, right? And you're kind of just like, which parent is it? But really, it doesn't matter. It just, I feel like whatever you go through life or the choices that you make or the things that you're given, it's because it's a lesson learned that we're trying to get through in this life. I look at my life and I'll be honest, yeah, we all struggle through mental health. It's a big challenge. It's never easy because I've gone through a lot. And, as a kid, very young, at the age of 6, my dad gets into a horrible accident, luckily to be alive. And then as I get older, this learning disability has become this whole burden. I'm becoming a caregiver for my father. And then my dad goes through a crazy surgery because of his heart valve, has to get transplant. He's got to get a mechanical device to keep his body alive. I went through school, which was the toughest, became an architectural technologist, and graduated during a recession, had to rebuild my life somehow and try to figure out what I'm going to do next. Went to school for fitness and nutrition, had a business. Like I go through all of that and the things I've gone through with my dad and it's like I always ask myself, why is the universe punishing me? Why is it? Why do I have to go through everything? And especially with my father, because people don't know. I went through a double valve, had the mechanical device installed, and then all of a sudden, he had a liver failure. And then all of a sudden, I'm being diagnosed with PCOS. And then my dad, what else happened? There was another thing that happened. I can't think of it right now. And I'm going through the timeline of my life. In the last 36 years, I went through a lot. And I start to think, why is the universe punishing me? Why do individuals in this world go through one thing after another, after another, after another? And it's like, and then, my son's born, great. I never thought I was going to have children because that was another thing I was going through. I was not going to be able to have children because of my PCOS. And then this miracle happened, and then He's diagnosed with autism. So then you start to think, what did I do wrong in my past life? If you really want to get into that, which is a whole other topic, what did I do? What did I do to get to go through all of this? But then I kind of come to a conclusion of we go through this stuff because we can handle it. You are able. So when I found out about my child with autism, I think a lot of parents can relate is that, oh my God, why do I deserve this? We don't look at the moment we look at the negatives. We never look at the positives, right? And I keep seeing these like affirmations, and it's like you're given a like for the first one for me was you're given a son because you get to experience what real true love is all about. And then you're just like, you know what? It's right because you've gone through experiences and you're just like, yeah, you know what? That's got some feeling to it and I feel it. And then secondary, with kids with autism, they're the smartest kids ever. And it's like I love seeing the way he just such a big problem solver, the way he just like tries to use that imagination of his. And I'm always wondering what's going through that little brain of yours because I'm so intrigued by it. But then it's like I'm able to take on this challenge. I'm given that challenge because I'm able to handle it. So that's how I'm looking through life. I went through this life experience with my dad. He was like a cat with nine lives. He almost went away four times. And, the fifth time came and he's gone. So it's like, yeah, I thought about this last year and I said, why am I going through this? Why? Why am I being punished? What did I do in the last 6 years or the last past lives that I've been through? What did I do? Did I murder someone? Did I kill somebody? Who was I? And it's just like I sat down and I said to myself, you know what? It's because I'm able to handle it. So now I think of life in a different way. It's more because, yeah, I have this amazing kid who's got autism and he's amazing. I love this kid to death. And it's like, because I'm able to handle it. I'm the one that's going to give him the life that he deserves. Everything that he needs, I can do it. And it sucks when I see people going through similar situations and it's like, how do you become positive, especially when it comes to somebody with medical needs like my dad? It's like, wow, we went through the ringer with him. We went through a lot. It was a lot of emotion and it's a mental health that depletes you. You're just like, I need help. How do you keep positive? My dad was positive, what, the last 15 years of his life? Great. But, it's just, you got to think things like, well, because I was given, the universe gave this to me because I'm able to handle it. And that's how I look at it. The universe made me go through this in my personal life because I needed to experience it. And if I'm not happy, it's going to allow me to grow as a person, to speak up, to have a voice, and to move on. So that's how I'm looking at things now. Because I feel like we all take it to the negative. We go into this rabbit hole and then we can't come out of it. So I feel like it's more of I'm given this because I can use it to create a voice, to create awareness, to let people know. Why do I have this podcast? It's because there's a dream that I have, but realistically it's helped me grow as a person, to create awareness about learning disabilities and to share other people's stories. So it's helped me become more confident. It's helped you become more confident. Because people don't know. They're like, you have a learning disability? I'm like, yeah, I do. Sometimes I can't even read. When it comes to a book, there's pronunciation. I have dyslexia. Like it's just a whole umbrella of things that I carry, but we don't display it. It's just you'll see it in a different way. I have ADHD. Yeah, I fiddle a lot. So it's why am I given this? Because maybe I'm on this earth for that purpose. I have a purpose. I'm here to help people. I feel like I'm the person that I tend to help a lot of people. I don't know if it's because my dad taught me that or it's just because that's who I am. That's in my DNA. I'm here to help others. And that's probably it. I don't know. And you start to wiggle around that and I try not to get into it as much, but I just say to myself, you know what? I'm given this life for a reason. I'm here for a purpose. You know, I'm able to handle the challenges that I'm given, and I know I'm going to do a great job at it. But also, too, I'm here because I'm learning from these experiences and sharing it with others so people can feel at ease that it's okay to go through these situations.
And thank you, Angelica, for sharing that. And yeah, mental health is very important. I do deal with it as well. Anxiety, depression. But I work on it. I work on it a lot more now. But yeah, it is very important. And thank you for sharing that because it was really, really important. Thank you for that. And yes, you do have a purpose for being here. And all that you've been through, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. So thank you for that. And thank you for, continue to do all that you can.
Thank you.
So let's get to a more brighter note. And what other project that you got going on that you have not mentioned yet?
Oh my gosh.
And, and
I
I know we mentioned a lot already. I know we mentioned a lot.
what other projects? Well, my other dream is to start a book. I started dabbling into writing onto my notepad on the iPhone, just kind of pull it out and start writing. That's something I want to do. That'd be a great accomplishment, actually, to do that. What else? Other projects? I think it's right now, it's really I'm getting more into the community more, especially with the construction industry, with my dad's story, which becomes a whole safety aspect of things. I'm dabbling into that. I'm always going to be a part-time student, so I'm going back to school in March, believe it or not, for construction management. It's like, what else could I do? And I just finished a certification for health and safety last year. I did Women in Construction too as well. There was a whole program that they sponsored, which was great. Learned a lot from that. Created my own network and excited for that. But I think it's kind of going into like the book right now. I really want to start writing it, see where I want to go with it. I started to think of doing also with the book when it comes to writing is a children's book about autism. So putting my son as a character and be able to create awareness that way. I've been dabbling into it, but how much of a story could I have? Seeing the things that he likes and converting him into a cartoon character, which would be nice for to leave as a legacy because I always go back to when it comes to projects and the things that I'm doing is what is your legacy? And I'm not saying generational wealth. I'm not saying that as a legacy. I'm just saying what is it that you want to leave behind for your children, for your community, for your family. And I just want my child to feel inspired and to feel like, wow, mom did everything that she could to give me this, and I was able to accomplish it because of the support. So I think I'm dabbling into stuff that I'm afraid of. So the book is what scares me because I don't have the greatest writing and I don't feel confident in my writing, especially with my learning disability. A lot of people say, well, do it as audio and we can convert it into wording at the end of it. But I really want to challenge myself and, just try new things. So definitely the book has been on my radar to get out there and do more speaking engagements, but at a bigger scale, which is another thing too, because didn't think I was going to break into this type of speaking position, especially with the Learning Disability Association as an ambassador, going to schools and talking about my experiences. And especially at work now, like I'm talking to people as much as 100 workers on site. So it's like, I want to dabble more into speaking and share my experiences. So right now, I just want to focus on slowly on the book and kind of figure out what I want to gravitate. Is it the children's book or is it my book about life? I don't know what to pick out of that life, but I don't know. Like it's interesting. I've always wanted to put my dad's story, how he immigrated to Canada, into a book because I found it really interesting when I first heard about it. And it can relate to a lot of people's journeys, right? But I think that would be such a great movie more than a book. Who knows? So, right, other projects. There's a lot in this brain. It's ADHD brain. Like it just doesn't stop. It doesn't sleep. It's just like, oh, look, why don't I make a podcast? And look, here we are, right? It just doesn't stop. Let me just open up another business and do something else. Like there's so much, Ken. Like I think right now the book is what I want to focus on and see where I can dabble with because I have so much happening and I just love to keep busy. And it's just, again, I feel like the universe is telling me just you're on this planet for a purpose and you are in your purpose.
But Angelica, keep doing amazing things. And whenever you bring out the children book or your book, of course I'll bring you back to MrGentleman, like the podcast, so we can discuss that. Of course. And of course, I ask this question all the time. So I'm gonna ask you this question again. I asked you a question before. What do you have to say for anybody going to say about you? From the podcast, everything that you're doing, entrepreneur, being a mother. Say something inspirational.
You know what? I feel like it's what is your legacy? And when I interviewed Tommy Breedlove, who's a motivational speaker, he talked about what is your legacy? And I was just like, you know what? This guy's got a point. This is why they pay you so much money to motivate people because I was so blown by it. I was like, wow, you're right. What is your legacy? What is it that you want to leave behind? What do you want to be inspired by? How do you want to inspire others? So for me, if you're going through entrepreneurship and if you've got this dream, just do it. You know, have a great support system because that's what's going to help you. If you're going to start a podcast, just start recording. Do it on your phone. You don't need the fancy equipment. I think we've all done it through our phones through Anchor.fm at the time.
Yeah.
And we were happily podcasting for at least a year, 6 months. See if you like it on your phone. You want to start a business? I can help you out. Start off small. You don't need a brick and mortar store. You just need to find your local, shop local markets, start from there and see if it goes. And I think that's the hardest part when you don't have support from friends and family because it tends to happen that way. They're like, no, you're crazy. What are you doing? But who cares? You got to have that mentality of, I can do it. I want to do it because you are so inspired at the moment. You're so motivated. You want to write the book, write it. Just do it.
Yeah.
What's stopping you? It's just have the freedom to write, have the freedom to start a business. I know sometimes we look at the financial stuff of it. Yeah, I do too. But it's like you do it within your means, especially with podcasting. I think I've invested like a less than $500 on equipment in the last 7 years, which isn't bad. I do want a studio. Eventually in my shed, I'm going to convert it into a studio, a little miniature spot where I can just go out and do my recording and invite people over to record and have live streams, whatever it is, with other guests across the country and just do podcasting. Like, I feel like it's so endless. If you got the opportunity to do it, do it. If you know that's your purpose, just do it. I always go back to Tommy Breedlove, which is what is your legacy that you want to leave? It's not because of the generational wealth. It's not about the money. It's not the will. It's what you've created in this life for those to feel inspired by. What did you do to make a difference in somebody else's life that they're going to go up to you and be like, you know what? God damn it. That girl did it all. I had some people call me I'm Forrest Gump and I'm just like, what, how? Like, cause you do it all, I do so much. And it's because I have this creative mind and I just want everything to come out of there. But my mind doesn't stop. It just keeps going. So if you're feeling inspired, you want to do something, you want to start crocheting, just do it. No one is stopping you. You do it for yourself and do what makes you happy at the end of the day.
There you go. And thank you for sharing that. And thank you for that motivational speech. That's really dope. But Angelica, before you go, we're gonna play a segment game. Before you go, we're gonna play a segment game called 5 Random Topics. I ask you 5 random topics, and you give me a short or long response. I will also join in on it with you on this. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
You don't know what I'm about to ask. All right. So the first thing I'm gonna ask you is, what is your favorite show right now?
90 Day Fiance.
Of course, of course, of course. For me, I'm gonna say The Pit. This show called The Pit is a doctor show that's on HBO Max. I started watching this since I got HBO Max. It's been really good. I finally caught up to season 2 now. I finally caught up, and yeah, I'm looking
You know,
forward
I'm
to.
gonna I saw the preview of it, but you know what was my favorite show this past year was Tesla King.
Mm,
That was a good
oh
one.
yeah, I heard of it. I heard of it. I heard of it.
Very good.
Yeah, I gotta check that out. I gotta check that out. All right, which artist that you want to see come back in 2026?
Oof. Alive or dead?
Um, that's a good question. Um, I guess alive. If say I'm gonna say alive for now. Alive.
Because you know how they have the hologram stuff now?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's crazy. Um, you know what? Oh my gosh, to come back in 2020. See, music is very difficult for me because I've gravitated to more to the 80s and the 90s that you're kind of like, who? The
Yeah, yeah,
Spice
yeah.
Girls.
That's an instant choice. That's an instant choice. I mean, I did have one person, but he already came out with a single. It was Bruno Mars. But if I had to pick somebody else, for some reason, I've been thinking about them for a minute, and they just got on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm gonna say Outkast.
Oh,
Outkast.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna say
that's a
Outkast.
good one.
Yeah, I've been thinking about them for a while, so I think they should come out with a new album. That'll be fire. Have them two together, especially with them just having a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame momentum right there. So they should definitely come out with a new album.
I was thinking because when you asked me the question, I was like, I would love to see Selena live, but like the AI version, like her on stage,
Yeah,
and we just get to watch it live. Like that would be super cool because
yeah,
that woman was remarkable. But like
yeah.
with all the technology, because did I think they did that once at the Super Bowl with Prince? No, where they did like
Mm,
I don't know what the term is. I'm pretty sure someone's gonna let us know what it is. Where it was a hologram. I don't know what it was, but with this AI technology, like these
no,
guys can
yeah,
just
who
come
knows?
back and perform.
That's a fact. Huh, that's a fact. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of AI, but
It's crazy. It's scary.
it is. It is. Yeah, it is scary. It is scary. What movie that you're looking forward to this year that you heard that's been announced?
Ooh, movies is a tough one. I'm not really into the movies
Mm,
because they put me to sleep because it's so long. I love shows because
yeah.
it's little series and then there's something more to look forward. I haven't heard any movies. Like I barely watch cable. I kind of just turn on Netflix. I'm like, oh, cool. This is awesome. But I'm not sure if Mission Impossible is coming out with another one. Do you know?
They they came out with one last year. The final one last year.
Yeah, I
They came out
saw
with their
that
final
one.
one last
I did see
year.
that
Yeah.
one. So I was very invested into the Mission Impossible franchise. Also the Avengers, Iron Man, all
Oh,
of that I was so into. So I'm not
oh,
sure if they're coming out with another
oh,
one.
oh, 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 there you go. They are coming out with a new one
Oh,
in
they
December.
are.
Yeah,
No way.
Avengers Doomsday. They just came out with the previews for like teasers for like each character so far. They came out with
No
like
way.
five. One for Steve Rogers, one for Thor, one for Black Panther, and
No
another one
way.
For X Men. Yeah, I see when we get off the screen. I see the teasers. I see
Okay,
the teasers.
okay. How about Fast and the Furious? Is there another one coming?
Um, it is. I
Oh
think next.
man.
I think not this year though.
Oh.
Think next year. I think the final one is next year. I think next year. I think next
Oh
year for
wow.
that.
That's crazy.
But if I had to pick, yeah, yeah, no, I got three. I got three. I got three.
Tell me.
Avengers is one. Avengers is one. Avengers is one. Spider Man coming out with a new one this year. Spider
Oh
Man,
wow.
a brand new day. I know. Yeah, I mean, brand new world. That's coming out this summer. And a Michael Jackson biopic is coming out in
Oh,
April.
really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, so
Okay.
I looking for, I'm looking forward to movie this year. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm looking forward to movie this year.
I need to make it to a theater first because it's been a long time. I think it was before COVID was the last time I went to a movie theater.
Dang, dang.
That was
I'm
a
not
long
gonna
time
lie.
ago.
That was a long time ago. That used to be me at one point, but then I started going to the movies again.
I think the last
So
movie
yeah.
I watched, not gonna lie, was a couple weeks ago during the Christmas holidays, and I watched F1 on Apple
Mm,
TV.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
was
yeah,
like, oh, they came out with a movie. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've seen it, but just by
yeah.
preview, like background music. But I actually watched it and
I,
enjoyed it.
I heard. No, I heard it was mad. I heard it was really good. I haven't watched
It
it
was
yet, but I
good.
heard F1 was really good. Yeah. Last movie. Well, let's see. What's the last movie I saw in the movie theater? Now that I think about it, let me think about that.
Oh my God.
It been. Oh, I can't remember, but it was Marlon's movie. Him.
Oh,
Marlon movie.
really? My
Yeah, that
last
was the
movie in
last.
the theater was Mission Impossible. One of the ones before COVID.
Oh man. Oh man. All right, number four. Who is your favorite cartoon character?
My favorite cartoon character. I'm not going to say
I,
Angelica from the Rugrats.
that would be funny.
um, oh my gosh. You know what? I know it's going to sound cheesy because I'm a mom. It's going to be from Peppa Pig. My
Mm.
son doesn't watch it anymore, but one of the characters that stood out to me was the rabbit. I forgot
Mm.
her name, but she works over 50 jobs, and I made a segment on about her on my podcast because I was so amazed. Mrs. Rabbit, her name, that's her name, Mrs. Rabbit. She's got a twin
Yeah, I think
sister.
I think I remember the episode.
You remember that?
I remember the episode actually.
She has like 58 jobs. And I'm just like, woman, I got like four and I'm struggling here. But she just goes to job to job to job to job. And she's got a twin sister who's got twin kids. And then she's got like Peppa's little friend. But like, I'm like, she's my favorite cartoon character.
This is hard because right now I've been watching the old school cartoon channel that came out last year called Me TV Toons, and I've been watching Ninja Turtles a lot. So I'm saying the old school Ninja Turtles. Always been a fan of them, and yeah.
No way.
Yeah. The old school cartoon channel that played all nothing but old school from the Turtles, Yogi Bear, the Flintstones, Looney Tunes, everything. Yeah. I don't know if they have it in Canada, but if they does, check it out. And
We should have a channel just for retro TV for sure.
yeah, if it got Philo, they got it on Philo too. So if you have Philo, you can check it out on there too. So they got
Okay.
they called Me TV Tunes.
Me too,
Is you love old school cartoons? Yeah, Me TV Tunes. You love old school cartoons? You gonna enjoy that channel. Yeah, there you go. And last one major goal for this year for your podcast.
Holy. Um, to get it back and running again. What's your goal? Because you know what? I'm watching you, man. You are reaching the top of the charts. You're like top five. You've been number one for the longest time on Society and Culture for Good Pods. And I'm flipping the tables around here because I'm so amazed and you're consistently still making those charts. How do you do it, man? Let me ask you that question. How do you do it?
I honestly don't know. I just I love like you. I love what I do. So I feel like for me, I always feel like I could always do better. So I always try to push myself. I always try to be better than yesterday. So and like I said, that's like you. I can see this show growing into something bigger too. So radio show, talk show, something, late night show, something. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm and the goal is always to impact people as well. So and with the stories and like same things in your show, I do the same thing. So yeah, but if I had to say my major goal this year, one thing that I want, even though you got it, but I need it, I want it. I needed to be a podcast award. So
Oh my
I want that title.
God.
Yeah, so I think it's time. I was something that I wanted to
Yeah.
do a couple years ago, but I think it's time for me to gentleman like the podcast to get a podcast award. At least something.
At least something, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I know the impact is always the guests and the stories, but having a podcast award would be a good fit for it too. So
It's
that's
true.
my thought. Yeah,
I know I know what you're saying because,
yeah,
there's some other person judging your podcast.
mm,
Like especially the Latin Podcast Awards, they have a set of judges who have
mm,
experience and they're going through these episodes that you submit and they're just like, okay, we're gonna narrow it down from 300 down to like 5. So I get it. Like it kind of gives you that assurance of, I might probably saying the word wrong, but you're getting that assurance, I should say, that like my hard work is being paid off. And yeah, definitely. That's a good goal to work towards is get that award. Whatever you got to do, man.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna keep trying, and like you, 7 years in the game and still running. But yeah, but Angelica, I just want to say thank you for coming on back on the show. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for the knowledge. Thank you for the fun conversation. Thank you for everything because this was an amazing episode. So I just want to say thank you for coming back to Mr. Gentleman, like the podcast. And of course, you're always welcome to come back. You're always welcome to come back. And once again, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Ken. It's been a long time. I appreciate it. Keep doing what you're doing because you're doing amazing things. And may 2026 bring the best of the best for you. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yeah, there you go. And of course, before you go, drop your social media where everybody can reach you and drop where they can listen to a little bit of everything with me and every day you do. This is your time.
Yeah, for sure. So you can follow me on Instagram at a little bit of everything with me. Also, the podcast is on 20 plus podcast platforms across the world. You just type in a little bit of everything with me and it will pop up. You get to see my little face there. And all very good. You can follow it on Instagram and you can also check out the LDAYS plugged in, available on Spotify and also Apple Podcasts. And yeah, I'm just so happy to be back.
Yeah, thank you for coming back to Mr. Gentleman. Okay, I gotta come back to your show too. We gotta make this happen.
Definitely.
Another interview. I gotta come to your show too again. And yeah, and thank you. We'll be right back.
All right. Thanks.
I just want to take the time to thank everybody for tuning in to the latest episode of Mr. Gentleman, like the Pocket TV, exclusively on YouTube. Thank you to my special guest, Angelica, host up a little bit of everything with me for coming back on the show. This was a really dope conversation, and thank you for sharing your story and just continue to do amazing things. Thank you again, Angelica, for coming on Mr. Gentleman, like that Pocket TV. You can check out Mr. Gentleman, like that Podcast TV, exclusively on YouTube at Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman, like that Podcast. Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman, like that Podcast. And you can check out Mr. Gentleman, like that Podcast every Sundays for the main series and every Thursday for spin-off series Thursdays. Add me on social media, Ken underscore Mr. Gentleman. I repeat, Ken, Ken underscore Mr. MrGentleman, GentleMan. And thank you once again for tuning into this latest episode of Mr. Gentleman, like that Pocket TV, exclusively on YouTube. And check out the official website of Mr. Gentleman, like that podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlikethatpocket.com. Thank you for checking out this latest episode and have a good day or night while you're watching this episode. You are now watching Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast TV. Chew!